Hello. So I see there's a few of you guys on. This is kind of a rare afternoon scope. I'm going to do this before my kids come home, so this will be super fast. Ready to be a boss. Well, thank you, coconuts and kettlebells. As I said before, this will be really fast because I have to pick up my kids really soon. But I just posted how to prepare lemongrass on my blog, but I also wanted to show you guys on Periscope. And if you guys have any questions, you can always ask me here, but I'm here by myself, so if I can't read your question, repeat it, or you can tweet me later, because I always respond to tweets, or just look at my blog post. If you go to nomnompaleo.com, oh, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle Tam of Nom Nom Paleo, and I'm going to show you guys how to prepare lemongrass, which I think is an ingredient that I used to be scared of, because I had a friend who literally like sliced her finger when she was preparing lemongrass. So I kind of shied away from it. I have 2 recipes on my blog that use it, but that is probably like 2 years ago. And recently I just came back from Vietnam, and I had tons and tons and tons of great dishes with lemongrass, and so when I came back I was inspired to try it again. Oh, someone says, are you doing a second cookbook soon? Not soon, but we are working on a second one. So for those of you guys who don't know what lemongrass is, it's this stalk-like vegetable that you can get at, most grocery stores have it. I've seen it at a bunch of grocery stores in the produce section. Sometimes it's kind of by like the cilantro and green onions, but you can definitely find this in your garden variety Asian market, like Ranch 99, Marina Market. Any Asian market near you probably has lemongrass, and that's because it is an indispensable ingredient in Southeast Asian cooking. Like, it's in a ton of Thai curries, it's in a bunch of Vietnamese dishes, but there are certain ways that you have to prepare it, and I'm going to show you how you do it. So in terms of picking a stalk of lemongrass, you want it to still be kind of green. You don't want ones that are completely yellow or dried out. You want it still kind of pliable, because then it proves that it's fresh. But you don't want all of it. Like this part at the very top, you're going to cut off. And then this part at the end, you cut off as well. So I'm going to show you how to prepare it really quick. I hope you guys can see. And they come in different widths. So I have a super fat one here, and then I have thinner ones here. And it kind of depends on what you're using it for. Like if I am going to be mincing it up and putting it in a stir fry or in a curry paste, and I'm actually going to be eating it, I like to use the smaller ones. And if I'm going to be using it to flavor a soup or a stew, and you're not going to actually be eating it, then sometimes I'll use these bigger ones, and then I'll show you how to do it really quickly. But no matter what preparation you're gonna, whatever preparation you're gonna use the lemongrass in, you still have to kind of prep it the same way. So you just kind of chop off the top part where it's kind of got like the dried out ends, and then at the very bottom you cut. It all depends on how much you have. So like on this one, because it's a young, fresh lemongrass stalk, I only had to cut off a little bit. And then if you look inside, it's kind of got like purplish and yellow, and that's totally normal, and that's what you want. And then you just take off the outer layers, and it kind of peels off just like green onion. And again, it depends on how old it is, how much you take off. And so now this part right here is totally usable. So if you are going to use this just in a marinade or a stir fry, which is kind of a lot of times how I like to use it, you're only probably going to use just this much from the end. And you can always save the rest of it in your freezer, and then you can use this part to flavor stews and curries. But I'll show you in a sec how I normally prep that. But like this part has been trimmed, the end has been trimmed, the top has been trimmed. It's only like the bottom 5 or 6 inches. And then if I'm going to be using this in a marinade or stir fry, I love using the microplane, because this will totally make it super small. Because in one of my previous Periscopes, when I was experimenting with a lemongrass chicken recipe that I'll be posting soon, all I did was I just minced it really fine. But it actually ended up being, I think, way too crunchy in my sauce. And so I didn't like it. And so this, I think, is the best way to do it. So you can either use a microplane and you just scrape it across and you end up getting really nice and fine little bits of lemongrass. And it's not, and like all this fibery stuff kind of gets caught in the microplane. See that? Let me show you this bottom part here. So, like this is like lemongrass snow. It's awesome. So that's what you should be using. But let's say you don't have a microplane. But you guys really should. This is a really, really, really cool tool. And it's my favorite tool for ginger. And it's also my favorite tool for lemongrass. But let's say you don't have this. That's okay. What you would do then is I'm going to just trim another one really quick and show you. Again, I take off the top kind of dried out green bits, and then I'm going to cut off the bottom. And then, so this one, I'm taking off the dried outer edges. And let's say you don't have a microplane, but you still want to mince up this lower part for your marinades. I still trim it until it's like 4 or 5 inches, and you kind of know how much to trim because you still want it to be pretty green, and if it still has, you definitely use all the part that's all pink, and then until it's kind of light green. Not at all. It has more of an herbal sweet flavor. It's not oniony. It's totally like lemony. It smells amazing. And so if you don't have a microplane and you can't mince it really small, I grab a meat pounder, which this is my favorite meat pounder. I use it all the time for crackling chicken. If you don't have this, you can use a small skillet, anything that's heavy. But all you do is you smash it. And when it's smashed like this, it's super easy to mince. And so you just use your knife, make sure you're going against the grain of the fibers. And then this you just mince really well. And you can throw this into your marinade or your stir fries. And let's say you don't have a meat pounder, you don't have a microplane, you still want to make a marinade. You can like chop, you can still, well, I think you should still pound it. You can cut it, but let's say you don't have a super sharp knife. You can throw this into a blender with the rest of your marinade ingredients, and it will totally pulverize it and give you the flavor without all the fiber and grit of lemongrass. But a lot of times there will be recipes where they will call for just lemongrass stalks to be added to your curry or your soup. In that case, again, you trim the end, and you trim off, you know, the really tough straw parts at the end. You still take off the tough outer layers. You don't have to go that deep, I think, with your tough outer layers. This is a really thin little one. And so depending on how thick your lemongrass is, you can just smash it, because the smashing will help release, oh, it smells really good. It's really lemony. Will release the oils. And then according to Savor Magazine, they have this great video where they show you that you can just tie it in a knot, and then you throw this knot into your soups and stews, and then afterwards you can fish it out because you don't actually eat this. All this does is it imparts the scent into your food. Or if you have like this big fat lemongrass, and this is what you're going to use to flavor your stews and soups. These ones are pretty hard for me to tie into a knot because I've tried doing that several times. So this one I'm just going to cut into 3 pieces. Then I'm going to smash it. And then these smashed pieces I just dump into my stews and curries. And so there you have it. You can smash it, tie it into a knot, or cut it into 3 pieces and smash it. And these go into soups and stews. If you're going to make a marinade, a curry paste, or a stir fry, you just want to use the end part. And you just grate it either with a microplane, or you smash it and then cut it really fine with your knife. Or you can still smash it, cut it, and then throw it into a blender. And that is how it works. And so now, oh, and you can keep it in your fridge for, if you wrap it in, plastic wrap or in a plastic bag, it'll keep in your fridge for like 2 or 3 weeks. You can wrap it and keep it in your freezer for, I think a couple months. Do you buy it at Asian markets? Yes, you can buy it at Asian market. Someone says they get theirs at the farmer's market. I've had a lot of people comment on my latest blog post, because I do have a blog post which demonstrates everything that I showed you, called How to Cook with Lemongrass on nomnompaleo.com. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, no. A lot of people have commented that they grow it, and so it's a really simple and easy thing to grow at home. So that is, where do you buy it? Oh yeah, so that was me not keeping track of what I'm doing. But I've definitely seen it at Whole Foods. I've seen it at my local grocery store, definitely at Asian markets. Yep, and I know that you can also find it in the freezer section at some Asian markets. They also have it dried in a jar, but I don't think that's really that great. But that is it. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. And if you need to see it again, just go to, I think Periscope has this for 24 hours, but you can also go to catch.me/nomnompaleo. And if this is not too rambly, then I will put it on my YouTube channel. So thanks everybody, and have a nice Friday. I hope you guys have a great Halloween. All right, adios, bye.